Hochhauser. I'm the deputy for Southampton Synagogue and indeed an erstwhile Labour Party supporter. And my question is directed to you, Sir Keir Starmer. You were the only party representative in the introductory remarks that did not mention anti-Semitism. How do you expect anybody in this room or in the wider Jewish community, or indeed any supporter of the Jewish community, to vote for your party, which despite your rhetoric on zero tolerance, has shown itself to be totally tolerant of anti-Semites and anti-Semitic views, and whose leader, the candidate for Prime Minister...
I think we've got the question, Simon.
...described himself as the friend of Jew haters in Hamas and Hezbollah.
Thank you. Can I... As I set out at the beginning, questions are for all of the panel, so you will construct from Simon's question on anti-Semitism a response. I am absolutely confident, and I'm going to start with Kirsten.
Thank you. I think I would reflect back what I said at the beginning, and I think that there's just no room for any kind of grey area here. There's no room for any kind of doubt or playing with words. Anti-Semitism is unacceptable. It's always unacceptable. It's unacceptable wherever and whenever it raises its head, and it must always be condemned. And it is absolutely our responsibility every single day, anyone who holds elected office, to make sure that that's what they stand for, and to make sure that that's how they live, and to make sure that they make other people behave in that appropriate way too.
Keir.
Thank you very much. In my opening remarks, I talked about basic values. I have fought for those basic values all my life. I'm not just saying them now this morning in this constituency. I've fought for them all my professional life, and that includes fighting against anti-Semitism. Every step of the way for years and years, ever since I was at university, I've committed my life to upholding human rights and defeating that kind of hatred and intolerance. And that's why I've fought for human rights and so upheld the principles. So before we get to any question of the party, my personal position is absolutely clear, I hope. I use the word zero tolerance because I think it's really important for my party to hear those words. The Labour Party has fought anti-Semitism for years. It pains me that in the last 2 years there is an association or discussion even about my party and anti-Semitism, and that's why I've been very clear that must be zero tolerance. And that's why when people like Ken Livingstone make the remarks that he should, I said he should have been expelled, because I think zero tolerance means zero tolerance. It means that you take decisive action. And I accept that it's for the Labour Party to keep on demonstrating that commitment, and I will keep on saying it over and over again, not just for this election, because I believe it deeply and have all my adult life.
Thank you. Sarah. And if I could ask if we could be brief, as we are drawing to a close, sadly.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my party has had a few problems, has not always dealt with them quite as quickly and expeditiously as I would have liked, but I was therefore completely delighted that we've recently had one individual who was pushed or jumped just before she was pushed, and another who was removed of his position as a general election candidate by Tim Farron. There may be issues. I'm happy to discuss that with you afterwards, and there may be, disciplinary things to look at within the party. But I believe that Tim Farron displayed the kind of decisive determination on this, which unfortunately, and I haven't done too much cross-party criticism, but Labour has been incapable of doing with Ken Livingstone and others.
Thank you. And Sajid.
I've suffered from racism, and of course it's horrible, it's wrong, and all forms of racism, of course, including anti-Semitism, are completely unacceptable, and we should have a zero-tolerance approach. This government has a proud record of fighting anti-Semitism, everything from our hate crime strategy, something that I'm proud to lead through my current department, which we can always learn from and do better, our safeguarding of Jewish schools and synagogues and nurseries and colleges and the funding we provide for that, for one of the first countries in the world to commit to the new International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's new definition of anti-Semitism to make sure it's up to date, and of course the support and the work I lead for the government on the new National Holocaust Memorial and Education Centre. But it has to be said, but it is clear and it is obvious, the Labour Party does have a problem with anti-Semitism. And I say that in all sincerity, first of all, accepting everything Keir said about himself. He has been a champion of equality and human rights, and I don't doubt for 1 second there's not a tiny part of Keir would have any truck with anti-Semitism. But he will not be the leader of the Labour Party if they win the election. It's the leader of the Labour Party that has said time and time again that he is friends with Hezbollah and Hamas. We prescribed Hezbollah. He calls them his friends. They had a whitewash inquiry into anti-Semitism that was condemned by everyone, including the chief rabbi. And then, as we've heard, they refused to throw out Ken Livingstone when they had the chance. We know where the Labour Party stands on this, and the country is not with them.